Hi everybody, this is my week number 5 post for the value of a good resume discussion. Today's discussion, I am going to talk about some of the characteristics that I believe to be a part of a good resume, as well as some of the characteristics that I think would be a part of having a bad resume, and how they can either really help you or how they could hurt you. Like I said, the first thing I want to talk about today are some of the characteristics of having a good resume for your job. The first thing that I found and I thought of was being always consistent within your resume. Whether you're tailoring to your desired job description for your resume or creating a general job resume, I think that you have to be consistent and you have to make sure that you are 100% qualified for the job that you're applying for. I read on Zesty.com that applicants that are applying for jobs spend an average of 76 seconds reading through a job description before they apply for their job. And this usually, they said, is 50% of the reason why people don't end up getting the job, because they failed to meet the criteria in the job description. So making sure that you're consistent and just knowing what you're applying for is obviously, I think, the #1 rule that you should follow in creating a good resume. Another thing that I thought of when creating a good resume is to relate some of the words that you find in the job postings and including them within your resume. If you find some of the keywords, you're able to show employers that you're able to do the job, and you know kind of what the job entails and that you're committed to following through within these actions. But you should make sure that they are similar and true, and you are not bluffing when you're including them within your resume. Another thing that I think is really important is the use of spell check and proofreading. Nothing is tackier than submitting a professional job resume to a potential employer and not having adequate spelling or punctuation. And I think that's something that employers will see right away, and to know that you aren't putting forth enough effort to make sure that your resume is completely perfect and free of punctuation and grammar errors is something that they're going to see, like I said, right away. I also think that another characteristic of a good resume is actually creating different versions of your resume. If you're either applying to different types of jobs or different jobs, I think this is beneficial, because if you see that one employer isn't particularly interested in you, and then sending out a different resume to a different company, they might see that the difference between the two, what might not work for one may work for another. So I think submitting different resumes is something that can really help you as well. Some of the characteristics I think make bad resumes and that can really hurt a person would be, obviously, like I said, typos is the #1 thing on my list that I think to be a bad characteristic that could hurt you. I elaborated on that before, but I just think that it's unprofessional and shows a lack of I don't know, that you're not really caring to go over your resume that you're submitting for your job, and that can show in your work ethic as well. Also, another thing that I came up with was not having your resume in a specific time sequence order. I think that it makes it really confusing for potential employers to read, and there's nothing worse than not being able to read a person's resume, I don't think. So that's kind of what I come up with for the characteristics of good resumes and bad resumes and how they can help or hurt you. I am excited to see what you guys have to say as well, and I hope you all have a good week. Thanks for listening.